blessed unity with the L-O-V-E. Love is the solution, so set your love free with the L-O-V-E. Further evolution and blessed unity.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Love Show. I'm your host, Dawn Light, and this is my gorgeous co-host, Trish Wright, with me here. Yay! We have an amazing guest, Sonya Sophia, with us today. She's so beautiful and has so much heart-centered yumminess to share today, and I'm so excited to introduce her. So I'm going to read a little bio here for her and really amazing, yummy introduction. So join us for a potent invitation to deeper self-acceptance and unconditional love. No better time, global pandemic, and holiday to focus on our love. So this is your personal invitation to recalibrate your brain's responses to stimuli and reprogram you and your body and your brain's ability to function properly. We are honored to tap into love with Sonya Sophia, world-class emotional freedom technique. And for those that, the shorter synopsis is EFT expert. So in today's show, she will teach us how to transform relationship residue to give and receive love more profoundly and to make love, not war. Isn't that gorgeous? So Sonya Sophia is a revolutionary leader in the field of emotional freedom technique with over 30 years of experience. She's worked with hundreds of thousands of people from below the planet to the world's most. She's been in motion pictures and regularly co-hosts the popular podcast Positive Head. So Sonya is the founder of the Sophia School of Living Arts and the host of the world's largest weekly EFT live stream, the World Tapping Circle. So welcome, 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 Sonya. We are so honored to have you here today with us. Thank you for your gorgeous energy and so excited to hear what you have to say today.
Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Trish, for holding space for this and for being a force for love in this world. Love is the most important thing that we can possibly look for, have, emanate, share with each other. It's the thing that keeps us alive and makes life worth living. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
I agree with you.
So today I want to give you all a deep dive into healing your hearts and helping you process the things that keep you from receiving love and giving love. So people tend to get jammed a little more on one side than the other. Sometimes we feel like love is okay to give to others, but not to give to ourselves. And when that happens, people who are trying to love us can't get in because we don't feel worthy. And we will actually sabotage that love, reject that love, not hear those compliments, bounce them back without letting them sink in, and then say, why aren't you loving me? I'm starving for love. And have you either done this? I know I did it a lot. Especially when I was dating. And it took me some time to realize that I'd sort of saran wrapped myself and was sending love out, but not letting love in because it's so vulnerable to feel love. And then if I let that love in and it touched my heart, it would open me. And then I would feel like a child. And then I would feel maybe dependent on that love, or that if something went wrong or I was seen as not good enough, they would take that love away, or that they could manipulate me with that giving love. And if I just, didn't let it in and gave them love, that somehow I would be protected and they would feel loved. And I think that's a subconscious strategy that a lot of people use, but it doesn't work. It keeps people from getting their love received, right? So if you're on the other side of that saran wrapped person, you're like, babe, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to comfort you or let you feel the depth of my heart, because if I give you a compliment, you're like, oh, no, you're the nice one, or back to you, or and you can tell that they're, pulling lines down and not letting in the eye contact, not actually receiving it. So it's annoying if you're a giver of love to not have your love received. It actually feels like an insult. Well, like, what's wrong with my love? Or, why? Maybe I just need to try harder. So they keep trying harder, and you just keep tossing it back without letting it in. And pretty soon there's a huge disconnect. And the answer isn't going to come from the other person. Yes. I'm just going to love you more and longer and harder and prove to you and self-sacrifice and amp it up. Or I'm just going to, get tighter and tighter and act like things are fine, when I'm dying inside. The answer actually comes from taking down the wall inside yourself and learning to feel vulnerable, which is terrifying, but necessary if you want to actually experience love and the beauty of that connection. So it has to come from inside first, right? We hear this all the time, but then there's a giant gap between how do I learn to love myself and the actual experience of doing it. So what I love about EFT is that it's a big how-to tool. And it will open your heart, it will open your mind, it will open your spirit to the ability to feel true to yourself and true to your own essence, which is love. So I'll just give you a brief synopsis of what EFT is, and then maybe you have some questions. And then what I would really love to do, besides being like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, look at me, I really just want to give you guys an actual experience of being able to feel this, because there'll be a minute when I'm like dead and gone. Then what's left? What, some video of me looking hot? No, what's going to be left is you guys living your lives.
Yes.
And making my life make sense, because you learned something and you applied it and you passed it on, and it made your relationships better, and it made your children happier, and it gave you a better life. That's what I'm here for.
That's exactly what we're here for too. Before you share about EFT, I'd love to just ask our listeners and our viewers about if they resonate with what Sonya was sharing. Is like, have you been the person who's rejected someone's love because it hasn't felt the way that you wanted it, that you didn't believe that you could have their love? Or have you been the other person who wanted to give the love and had your love like totally misinterpreted or misunderstood? Like, Sonya, like my whole game is really helping people to dissolve codependent patterning. And that's part of that piece is like, oh, I have all this stuff that I learned how to behave or to receive love. And I have to give, overgive myself to be able to receive love. Because that's what like society taught women to do, is like, you have to be a giver, and it's, you have to keep giving when they don't want it. Oh, I just don't think that's like, I have lots of feelings about that, but like, we don't need that anymore.
I had the same pattern growing up. I grew up in a very fundamental Christian type of household, which in some ways was awesome because it taught me the power of prayer and meditation and so many important things about the purity of love and keeping my heart pure and connected to spirit and loving God, goddess. But it also taught me to be submissive and subservient and dependent on relationship, and that my primary role in life was to support a man and make sure that he was happy and give, like, ad nauseum. So I've done a lot of work on healing codependency, and the other thing I wanted to say is that sometimes when we're practicing self-love and really connecting with that, there's also this idea that if I don't need another person, that I won't have another person in my life because I don't actually have a need for them anymore. Like today I bought myself 4 bouquets of flowers because I want to wake up on Valentine's Day with my house filled with flowers. And I stopped a long time ago waiting for a lover to bring me flowers. Now, a lover may bring me flowers, but they're not going to get in trouble if they don't, because I have all the roses and lilies and flowers that I want. And if they do, then their flowers are going to be put in a really special place that makes me feel really excited. But, I can have what I want for myself.
Sonya, I just want to say that on this show, we talk a lot about self-sourcing and meeting your own needs first. And for those who consistently watch, if you want to know what that looks like, that's it. What Sonya just said, that's meeting your own needs, that's self-sourcing what you want, and that's not waiting or putting your wants or projecting your needs onto someone else. That's just like, you know what? I want flowers on Valentine's Day. I'm going to do it for myself. And if someone else comes in to give you that, that's just like extra icing, right?
Yeah, right. And I'm excited about Valentine's Day, actually. I have a hot date on Valentine's Day. I'm really excited about it,
Ooh.
And I'm going to be complete in myself. And what's interesting about that, I think, in relationships is that we're still coming off the hangover of I'm incomplete without a person. So, I have somebody who comes over once a week to help me with little honeydews. And it's a young woman. And, she comes over once a week and helps me do all the little things that I would have a man do in the past, because I'm not waiting around for them to get fixed. Now, can I figure out some other things if my sweetheart wants to fix something or do something because he's a manly man and he's got a screw gun and he wants to use it and show me? Of course. But I'm not waiting and suffering while my life just degrades because I don't have a boyfriend or a man to fix something for me.
Right.
So
it's part of dissolving the patriarchal construct that we're all taught. It just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work in the reality that we all live in. And especially if you have a spiritual practice or are part of the spiritual community, it really doesn't away. I mean, you don't have to be, all expansive love, polyamorous and bisexual to be, but to understand I like men, but I'm not going to wait on, or his attention doesn't support my value.
Right.
It's extra.
It's an addition to, but you can source yourself. So another thing is that I'm watching a show on Netflix right now called Outlander. Apparently everyone else in the world has watched this but me. But so I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm watching this show. And it's
very sexy.
It's very sexy. It's very old-fashioned in the gender roles and the talk about patriarchy. It's all there. And we're coming off of that still. And what I see in that is that in the past, our mothers and our grandmothers, for you it's more your grandmothers, for me it'd be my mother, and the ladies before that, we didn't have the ability to work and earn our own money, or had very few options. Mostly we had to be dependent on somebody who was taking care of us, and we had to keep our mouths shut and put up and put out and make the babies and make the food, or we were on the streets with very little options besides selling our bodies. So as we have fought for equality, and as we have won the right to vote, and as we have not put up with being basically indentured servants anymore, or slaves, all women of all races and colors have been going through this on this planet for the last few thousand years. The men are having to level up and say, I would love to serve you instead of serve me. I can cook. I can fix things for you. yes, I keep a clean house. I'm like, great. These are things that we do too. And it's wonderful that it's not just women cooking and men sitting on, their butts waiting to be served, that men can clean up their own houses and that we can take care of each other in whatever roles we want to. I love to cook. I also love to be cooked for, So it's just cleaning up all of that stuff where actually to be in relationship means that you actually have to learn to cultivate yourself, communication, take care of your boundaries, be communicative and honest, be upfront and transparent. So, getting rid of these old stereotypes actually makes us better people.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Mutuality is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In my coaching practice, I really, really help dissolve the barriers for people. What you're talking about is like that saran wrap layer was really about the barrier we build inside against love, right? And so it is so true. It's like how we relate to the issue is the issue, and how we're relating to ourselves around, are we letting it in? Are we really allowing ourselves to fully receive the capacity of how this person wants to show up for us in loving essence? Because we are loving essence, and that's expanding through our relationship to the other person. We're the same. And so it's really just the barriers we've built in our mind around things that have happened in the past that trigger us to believe that we're separate or there's a gap and we're not able to connect. And so it's really leaning into those places inside where we have a story going on, or we're running a story about something. And, it really comes forward when you're triggered. When you're triggered is your opportunity moment to lean in and say, oh, wow, what is that? And be curious, because it's an opportunity to get closer to your person you love the most, right? And instead of running away from it or pushing away, thinking I'm wrong or bad or whatever the thing the fear that arises there of like, oh shit, if I share this, I'm going to lose love, or I'm going to lose connection, or I'm going to lose my opportunity for whatever your desire is. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Instead, lean into it and really explore what that is for you, and be bold and brave in your vulnerability, right? To bust through that barrier that's inside of you by owning it and saying, wow, I have these feelings coming forward, and I think it's connected to this, that, and this from the past. And I really want to honor how I'm creating this in the relationship. This is how the pattern's showing up. So taking responsibility and owning how you're creating it gives the person an opportunity to own theirs and to bridge that gap so the connection is stronger.
That's so true, Dawn. And I have a little saying called, our triggers are our treasures.
They really are.
Because if we can melt them down, we're going to find that there's something gold inside of that brings us closer and enriches our lives and enriches our partnership. Now, the trick is, when you're triggered, sometimes you don't know. It's very obvious when you're triggered that someone else has done something offensive, and it's their fault and their problem. So the first thing to notice, when I'm triggered or when you're triggered is, am I wanting to stop the trigger? Am I wanting to say this person is the problem, this person is bad and wrong? So if I'm wanting to shut someone away or shut someone down, I can notice that they're probably connected to a trigger. Yes. The next thing is for me to say, does this remind me of something in my past? And while I'm doing that, I start using EFT. Because the truth is, just owning your part, even if you can get to the part where you're like, oh, hey, I'm triggered. Step 1, bing, bing, bing. Step 2, oh my gosh, this keeps happening. Okay, I see that it's part of a pattern. Step 3, I'm owning that I am creating through my own expectation and my own conditioning this experience for myself. Yay, big, big, huge bonus.
Yep.
If I don't clear the pattern, I'm going to be in that conversation next week too. I'm owning it. It's like, okay, own it, but you're still doing it. So at some point, we're like, yeah, you're owning a lot of stuff. Your whole room is filled with stuff you own. I'm glad you can name it. But what are we doing here? It's still all over the place and it's getting on me, right? So when you bring EFT into it, it's not only am I able to pull back and stop the attack and drop in and notice the pattern and then say, yep, I'm doing this. My side is looking like this. And now I'm going to do something about it and clean it up so we don't have to keep having this conversation. And I'm going to pull that pattern out of my neurology, out of my cellular memory, out of my database and my DNA, where I could have inherited, this is a wild, true thing, a trauma that's generational.
Yep.
Some of that's going to come from what you saw your family do, and that can get passed down for generations before anyone catches that. But it's also information that gets stored in the egg and in the sperm. Because the egg that was you was inside your grandmother when your mother was a fetus. And whatever exciting, scary, or traumatic things were happening to grandma, where she was like, ooh, I will never forget this. I got to remember that to stay safe. That can turn into an egg inside your mom that turns into you. So wherever that information is coming from, you've got to have a cleanup tool, or you're just going to be owning it and storing it, right? So we want to take it all the way through so that we're actually cleaning out that storage unit inside of ourselves and being like, cool, I have all this beautiful new space inside me for my own self to fill up and my own creative connection to love to fill up. And this is where I want to meet a partner. This is my sovereignty, and also being pretty unflappable. There's not triggers left there, buttons to push, so you can actually have fun and be more, take more risks in relationship, be more vulnerable, be more authentic, be more transparent, and it feels safe.
So any of our viewers or listeners, do you want any of that? Do you want to be more vulnerable? Do you want to have more fun? Do you want to be able to take more risks in relationships? Type it in. Say yes if you want that. No, you might want to not watch the rest of this.
Oh yeah, we're going there, y'all.
I know.
Fully exploring and living into your authentic self. Like the more we work on the barriers, the more we do our cleaning of our temple and our house, right? Through these techniques and processes, then we just really get to live into our authentic self and feel the loving essence that we are, and how magical that's always unfolding for our benefit, our betterment. It's always creating in there. To create our life in the most magical, incredible way.
I heard you were gonna say so some of you say authentic yes, and what I say is living in your fuck yes. I heard you wanted to go there. I was like, oh yeah. Sonya, we have a question for you, and it's, what is your definition of love, with or without a partner? And I think this is a really interesting place, because the definition of love, as we all socially, globally have been taught, and the definition of love personally has, like individually, has also specific meaning. And I'd love to hear what your definition is before we share ours.
For me, beauty, love, truth, and peace are all kind of synonyms. So it's less about a person and it's more about a sense of well-being. When I dive into myself, what I'm looking for in relationship is feeling free to be myself. Feeling free to feel relaxed and present and alive. So when I'm single in the world, but in love, in that flow of love, this is how I'm moving through the world. When I'm in relationship and in love, I'm free in myself with this person without judging myself, without fearing what they're going to say or what they're going to think, or trying to make them into something that they're not, so that I can have my little fantasy. So really, I think it's about being truthful and honest and open and playful. You know, that we forget that love is actually juicy and playful and fun and funny and creative, you know. So when I'm in the love, I have sensations in my body, and I have that natural, uncensored ability to speak freely without worrying. I know that's kind of a long-winded definition of love, but I would say it's to be in your natural essence.
I'll take long-winded over breathless any day. For me, my definition of love is the radical acceptance of what is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really come to a place of chipping away. Like, if I ever have children, I'll never let them watch Disney. Well, maybe I will, because, you know, I can't keep them from doing things. But it's problematic. There's a lot of things that are problematic in this lifetime. But I would love to teach them that true love is accepting yourself and other people for all that they are, and that the judgment is really a place of want and need and something that they value. So if I have a want or a need that creates a judgment, or I have this judgment on a person, to just accept that, like, oh, this is a thing that I actually want and need, and I don't have to like suffocate my partner in fulfilling that for me. But that's something for me. And so the radical acceptance of what is my definition of love. It's taken me a long time to get to that place. Not am I not perfect? I'm practicing.
I think it's so perfect that we're doing this, Trish, because the EFT process is basically mainlining love and acceptance into your nervous system. That's the magic. That's the thing that does the healing, right? So you've really got it crystallized. And whenever love and acceptance meets trauma, fear, pain, old memories, it has this magical dissolving quality. And it releases that from the nervous system. It releases it from the brain. It releases it from the memory banks. It releases it from the biology. So then suddenly you find yourself kind of fluffing back out to the design that you were supposed to be this whole time. And it's prismatic. It's multicolored. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow, gorgeous explanation of it. I can honestly say for me, I went through a long period where I had many relationships that didn't work out for me because I had trauma as a child. And I broke the pattern because I realized, wow, I'm the common denominator. And it was like one heartbreak after another. And finally, I just leaned back into myself and I was like, I'm done with the heartbreak. This is like, I'm done with this. And so what is this for me? And I just decided to be celibate at that time in my life because I wanted deep partnership. I wanted a soulmate relationship, and I was not arriving at it. Always I call it serving yourself up on a silver platter to my queens that I coach. I'm like, I was doing this. I would get into a relationship and I would give my everything and be like, here it is. And then I would get so hurt when they weren't able to meet me in that place. That just wasn't where they are. I never was able to see where they truly were in their life because I was so colored by my own deep desire and yearning for love. So I decided that I was just going to lean back in and be celibate. And I was like, my only real relationship here is with myself, which is with God. And I was like, I'm going to wildly fall in love with myself like I never have before. And I did it. And I went on that journey and I was fully just in love with myself. I was dating myself. I was in love with myself. I was taking sacred baths. I was not looking for a relationship. And it was crazy because men were coming out of the woodwork and I was just like completely ignoring them. Like, all right, I'm one with God. And that's what matters to me. And I didn't even realize that I thought I was just, I literally in my mind and heart renounced the desire to have marriage in my life. I renounced the desire to have a partner. I was like, that's it. I'll be celibate for the rest of my life because I want true love and happiness. And I know it's inside of myself. And I was like, that is what matters to me most. My relationship with God matters to me that much that I'm willing to renounce the desire to have a baby and have marriage and all the things that I dreamed of as a little child, a little girl. And I did. I renounced it all. I just wiped my slate clean. And then I finally let one person, I basically, well, this all happened because the last person I let in was just so deeply, hurtful, the last one, that I knew it was a destined thing because I'd been praying for a soulmate relationship since I was 18. I'd been praying for twin flames since I was 18. And I finally got it at 27, but it just as the polarity is light and dark, that relationship was he was very dark and I was kind of the light embodiment. And I was like, wow, I really saw that. And I had to choose in that moment because he was so disrespectful that I was like, oh my God, he's so disrespectful. This is not how a king would treat a queen in a relationship. And I said, you know what? I do not stand for this. I don't care how painful and hurtful this is. I will walk away from my destiny with this person. And I did. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to be celibate. And I just went for it. And then the universe literally put my husband in my path like a year and 3 or 4 months in after celibacy. And the universe was like, when are you two going to get it? And I was like completely ignoring it. Like, I was like, no, I'm not supposed to let anybody in now. Like, I was like on that. But my husband was just consistent. Like, the consistency I desired in love was there. And I became consistent in my love inside of myself.
Wow, and well done, honey. Wow, and well done.
And now I can honestly say it's 18 years later. We have a 10-year-old. And, life is still throwing us a lot of curveballs to work through, but it is a true soulmate relationship. Like, we're compassionate, we're kind, we're loving, we pray at the dinner table together, we dream together, we love and care for one another like a soulmate relationship would. And so if I can do it, others can do it. And that's
totally
my testament to like just always believing in self-love as the portal to your most amazing life, because it's everything.
I love it, Dawn. I love your passion. I feel your truth. And I really relate to what you said. I also married God 15 years ago. And I thought about it for a year. We were engaged, and then I said yes. And I actually got a gold piercing in a secret place as a wedding ring, being like, okay, this is my commitment to myself and to the divine, and letting that fill me and letting that be basically being guided and being supported, and noticing that energy was always there for me. That energy always never judged me, never turned me away, was super patient, and basically repatterning myself from also having trauma in my past. I did a lot of EFT. I did a lot of things, meditation, yoga, ecstatic dance, all kinds of ritual work and some pagan Wicca stuff. But the most important thing was what you're talking about, which is basically anchoring that I am in love. I am in the flow of love. I am loved and I'm loving, and I'm not going to let anyone put that light out. And, we get what we settle for. So, I went through a breakup because I was saying, first thing in the morning, I'm going to tend to the flame of love. So I will do that by myself with my hand across my heart or my womb, feeling gratitude, remembering who I am, what I'm doing on this earth, being grateful that I have a roof over my head and food in my fridge, and really nourishing that love and being grateful and listening to when that guidance comes and following through. And in a partnership, we do that together. And if somebody doesn't think that sounds like a fun, great thing to do first thing in the morning in bed, then off you go,
Exactly.
I don't have time for that, So it's really beautiful to hear your story, Dawn, and to hear your commitment, because, you get what you settle for. And so in this queendom that we find ourselves in, it's not about, having power over other people. It's about being in power with ourselves and alignment with ourselves, and saying, okay, if you want to be in alignment with me, then you got to be in alignment with you, and what being in alignment with each other really is, in essence, if you're going to be in a healthy relationship, is I am cultivating love. I'm learning how to sustain love. you can come into this place, you can exit this place, but that place inside me doesn't really change that much, whether or not somebody's with it or not, because I can dance, I can meditate, I can pray, I can create, I can paint, and I can serve. And serving is also another really great way to bring love. You guys, I'm sure you're hearing my cat. She's making me crazy, and I'm thinking she's making you crazy. So
No, I love it too.
I'm going to let her out, and I'm so sorry. Hang on.
It's
one
all
second.
good.
So, yeah.
You serve your cat. We understand that it's love.
It's like, let me out.
And she meows if I don't let her in when I'm broadcasting, and then she meows if I don't let her out. So
I've got the same thing. You've got the same thing.
I didn't know whose cat it was. I was like, somebody's got a very vocal cat.
I was like, let's pretend it's their cat. And finally, I was like, I can't ignore this cat anymore.
It's okay. We love creatures here. We love our little, beings of unconditionalness. Sonya, Dawn, thank you for sharing your commitment and your love and your devotion to God and yourself. And I would love to share a piece of love for you, Sonya. A dear friend, Allie, says, I'm so happy to see Sonya Sophia on your page. She has been a profound teacher to me. So for everyone who's watching and listening, again, type in what you're getting out of this and how this is landing for you. Are you getting the understanding that the cultivation of inner self-love and reliance and acceptance is really the foundation where you can show up with your partner? And in relationships, including the one with yourself, it's not about showing up 50%, but showing up 100% all the time, 100% for you and your best. Cosmic winks left and right. So, yes.
So I want to say that to that means, because love is so important to me, I decided that I would find a way to help facilitate the flow of love on this planet and give it all I have for the rest of my life. So I've been teaching people how to do EFT. They don't even have to be very goddessy or mystical or into anything. They can just want to feel better because they're suffering, and neuroscience is cool, right? But basically helping people sit down, and again, it's the how-to. It's like, great, well, learn to love yourself. Bye. Well, how do you do that? How do you do that when your head is full of self-loathing and self-criticism? I used to have an inner critic that would follow me around the house and complain and criticize. You call that making up the bed? You should have done that yesterday. Well, who do you think you are? It was ongoing. I would never let someone in a relationship talk to me like that, but I had this mean little voice in my head that was just whipping me all day long. And of course, when you have that going on, it's very hard to be like, oh, yes, I feel worthy of love. It's like, actually, I've been beaten by a psychological stick all day, by a really mean thing in my head. So, it's always going to negate. Someone's like, I love you. It's like, no, they don't. Oh, well, how long are they going to love you? Well, not if they realize you pick your nose or whatever, right?
Is anyone relating to this out there?
This is so good.
Type it in, like Sonya, this is the entire reason why we have this show.
Yeah.
It's the entire reason that we bring fabulous, amazing teachers on to teach people in the world how to, quote unquote, love yourself. Because there's this idea that self-love is like bubble baths and skin scrubs. No, it's doing the work.
Like, I'm worth this and I'm worth that. Well, the bigger your ego is, the lower your actual self-love is, because you're trying to puff yourself up because you're feeling hollow and empty inside.
Yes.
So people who actually love themselves don't try to press down on other people or fluff themselves up. They're pretty unflappable and stable and present. So, what we want to do is take care of that inner critic. And how do you get it out of your head? You can't do it by hating it out of your head, because then you're at war with your inner critic. Then you're in a fight. And then now you know that you're not going to be able to fight hate. You can't do it out in the world, in society. You can love and dissolve it with your love and your presence and your compassion. So when you've got this pain in your head, I would have you do some EFT, which I'll do in a minute here. It's stimulating the meridians, basically getting the electrical current to start flowing while you open up the information in your head that's running, and you put empathy, which is another word for love, compassion, which is another word for love, forgiveness for self, another word for love, into the mix, and you just overlap the experience that you had that created this with the energy of acceptance, love, empathy, compassion. And what happens is the neural network that contained the experience that then gave you the negative self-talk dissolves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have to try to love myself. I just do.
Because I am.
In the absence of fear and pain, love exists. You don't have to try to make yourself love yourself. You just take out the things that aren't love.
Right. And become aware of your loving essence.
Which really flows through when you're not feeling angry and sad and insecure.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's basically, this is an erasing process, and what your natural essence is will fill in that space.
Yes.
And you will become aware of it, and people will become aware of it, and they'll reflect it back to you. And it can feel a little surprising at first. It was like, I just upgraded my personality. It's like, yes, you did. Because you upgraded your past, right? And your genetic past or cultural conditioning, your family patterns, and also any abuse or trauma that your body is carrying. And I promise you that it is doable. It may feel like a mountain of stuff, but when you have a pneumatic power tool that can go and is on demand and actually works every time you use it, eventually you're like, okay, I'm just going to roll up my sleeves and get with this, because I want to update myself to a point where I can kind of date up. I'm not having to be down here because I secretly think that I'm down here, right? You're going to, water seeks its own level. So as we clean ourselves up, other people who have cleaned themselves up are more available to us.
Yes, this actually is just happening in one of my clients' lives. She literally, through all the work we've done of just repatterning, through all the deep coaching and owning the traumatic pieces and really coming clean, cleaning in the mind, right? Through the processes, she actually was able to be in a circumstance where she could never break free of the pattern, that she was always willing to accept these people that were toxic in her life from a really toxic love relationship she had that was with her. She has 2 children by them, and she was really having a hard time letting go of this really toxic way of relating with this person. And she went to a final birthday party for these people, and the whole family just treated her horribly. And she just was like, wow, I really don't deserve this at all. And she completely walked away from it, knew she showed up in her best light, and was able to fully shed the pattern and choose, I will not choose this for myself any longer. I'm upgrading my reality. And she it just was overnight shift. She got it, and she was like, wow. And she just was able to praise herself and acknowledge herself for the growth and the work, and was really recognize, I am no longer hooking in to where I would feel bad when these people had this boisterous reaction to just her showing up in her loving. She was just bright and happy, and they were completely triggered, and she would always take it to mean that she did something wrong, and instead she didn't go down that neural pathway anymore, because it had been cleaned and cleared so much that she was able to physically make a different reality for herself. And since then, the week has shifted. She went and bought a little crown for herself, and it's been a massive upgrade in every way she's relating with herself. I'm just floored by witnessing her work, and she's incredible. She's an incredible woman, and I'm just so excited for her life. So I just wanted to share, for those watching, this is a real tangible experience that you can have the more you do this work, like EFT and the tools, coaching, all the tools. Apply them, because they work. Like, this is how you physically change the outer experience to match the inner.
That's
Who
so
wants
beautiful, Dawn.
Who wants that? Does
I
anybody
do.
want to change? Does anybody want like love, deep inner self-reliance and love and stability and security? Like, type it in. And I would love for you to show us the way, Miss Sonya.
I'm so honored and happy to do so. And how fun to be with you two who really, 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 really get it. So thank you for, being the next generation to hold that space. And I'm so here to support you in that and to help facilitate it. So I'll just give you a quick synopsis. And y'all who are watching this, get ready. Like, fasten your seatbelt because we're gonna go to the other side here. So
Buckling in.
let go of that old identity. It's pretty overrated. You're just gonna do some actual brain surgery on yourself energetically in this very sweet way, and we're gonna clear some of those toxic patterns out of your heart with EFT. So quick synopsis: EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's been around for almost 30 years. I got involved about 15 years ago. I learned from the founder. I've taught hundreds of thousands of people how to do this. I coach really, really famous and wealthy people on the private, and I take that money and put it into something for the rest of us called the World Tapping Circle, where I do a live stream every week. And then I have 6 years of broadcasting of these healing sessions that go up into video library. So anybody who can pay $5 a week can get in there and do unlimited self-healing on themselves. So know that you have the resources and the tools, and it's on a private platform that you can see me, but no one can see or hear you. So you're going to be really free to be yourself. Having said that,
Incredible.
the process is 3 things at the same time: body, mind, and spirit. The body part is we're stimulating the acupuncture meridians with our fingers, and we're helping the electrical circuits of our bodies flow more quickly where they've either been overstimulated or understimulated. So if you have anxiety, they're overstimulated. If you have depression, they're understimulated. So we're going to tap on the meridians of the body while we are Googling within the information that's tagged with the issue that we're addressing. So if I have a deep feeling of being unlovable, I'm going to tap on my body in these certain sequence, and which I will show you in a minute. And I'm going to say out loud, even though there's a part of me, and that Googles it, that thinks I'm unlovable. And then we're going to bring in the magic spirit part, which is simply love. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. And what that does is it puts the energy of love and acceptance onto the parts inside of us that believe that we're unworthy of love. And then the body will begin to process that out of the nervous system. The body will start to yawn, burp, laugh, cry, tingle, vibrate, suddenly feel kind of semi-psychedelic. You might feel shivers or like the room changed temperatures. You're literally changing your neurology and your biology with your own command. And it can be a little tricky at the beginning because it is such a natural but intense experience that it's nice to have someone kind of guiding you through it, which is why I do this. However, as you get better at this, it is totally something that you can use in the moment, in a moment that you're triggered. And I'll talk about that at the end, about how do you apply this like to a triggering situation on your own. So y'all ready to do some EFT with me? Yeah? Great.
Yes. Question.
Okay.
Would you like to be showcased, or would you like us on the screen as well?
You know, I kind of want y'all here with me because I want people to see that it's not just a fairy godmother who knows how to do this, but this is what other people look like. And this is what it can look like physically as people are off-gassing the stored stress. So if y'all are willing to be that transparent and vulnerable with your own experience, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. You might want to grab a tissue, everybody, just in case.
All right.
Just in case. Yeah. Grab a tissue. You don't know. So some like hairball might come flying out of you that you need to put somewhere. You might have tears. You might have snot. You might not have anything like that. You might just have sudden downloads and realizations. It works in different ways for different people at different times. When I first started tapping, I would just sob and sob. And guess what? I don't really cry very much anymore during tapping, but I burp a lot. So if we're tapping and you hear me burping, which is a little bit gross, I get it, but it's not coming from a food thing, it's coming from energy. So if we come across a matching pattern in the session that I'm about to lead, that's true for me, my body will clear it too. So that's what's really fun about being a practitioner, is that not only do I get to help people, but anything that matches what they're working on clears in me too. So it's always a 2-for-1 special. It's like, what?
I always like
Okay.
to call that the triple win. You win,
Right.
I win, we all win, which is also, sort of said as your healing is my healing is your healing, and our healing is all healing. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And my pleasure is your pleasure is our pleasure. So when I bring this peace and love and pleasure into my body, it enhances my relationships and it enhances the world around me. Right? So this is why I'm doing the World Tapping Circle, because only happy, healthy people can create a happy, healthy world. We got to get it on the inside, and then everything we do will be colored by that. So for those of you watching and who might be a little skeptical, great, keep your skepticism. Let's test this thing out. Let's take it around the block and see if anything changes for you. Pick something that is in your heart that you're still holding on to that hurts. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's something that you feel guilty about that you did. Maybe it's something that to yourself that you wish you could stop doing that is hurting your heart. And your heart is being like, hey, stop being mean to yourself. So the subject of this tap is going to be healing the heart. So where are you resisting the flow of love? It could be in relationship. It could be to yourself. Please don't try to clear your entire life at once. We're just going to take the smallest little thing and test it out to see if this works. And then if it does, or if you feel any kind of shift or difference, then you might get curious to try it again and keep expanding, okay? But we're going to be really smart about just putting it in one specific area, okay? And then I'm going to give you some words to help you work with your consciousness, and you're going to repeat them out loud. Now, if these words don't land precisely for every single person, I want you to modify them and change them so that they actually make sense to your situation, even if it's really different than what I'm saying. And if you don't know what to say, just say what I'm saying and we'll try it out. So it may sound a little negative at first because what we're doing is honoring the truth of what's written inside of us. We're not going to gloss over anything. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're not going to just like positivity it away. We're going to be like, yeah, this freaking sucks. I hate it and I'm done and blah. We're going to say how it really feels at the lowest level. And then as the body processes that out, because we put so much love and empathy there, we will begin to reprogram ourselves with a more positive version. But once you've erased a lot of stuff, you don't have to keep rewriting the positive over and over because it's the only thing that's left written there, right? So it's going to be like that. Okay. So taking a deep breath, finding the collarbones, dropping down to the front of the chest, massaging the front of the chest, feeling around for kind of a sore spot in the upper pectoral region. Tuning into the issue that you want to work on, and ask yourself from 1 to 10, if you were to be honest, how intense is this issue? Or would this issue be if you were to really let yourself feel it? 10 being the most extreme. Okay? Just so that we have a reference point to see if anything has shifted by the end of this process. So when I say this issue, I want you to say out loud what it is that we're tapping on. So it's like my lack of love for myself, or my anger at my ex, or whatever it is. Big deep breath. Repeating after me. Even though. Oh, go ahead and mute yourself, Dawn, so everyone listening can hear themselves. Okay, thanks. And then you'll have privacy. Okay? Even though. Oh, it's still letting you through.
I got her. I just muted her.
Cool. Thanks. One more time. Even though I have this issue. And then say what your issue is, just the short title of it. Tapping the eyebrows, right at the beginning of the eyebrows. I'm open to accepting myself. Smoothing down the eyebrows to the edge of the temples. Even though I have this issue, state your issue again. And breathe. Tapping the front of the cheeks. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping under the nose. I accept the part of me that thinks this will never change. Tapping under the lips and breathing. Tapping the chest. I accept this part of me that expects this to always be this way. Tapping down to the front of the ribs. It's been going on for a long time. Big, deep breath, big sigh. Okay. Side seam of the body. If you're wearing a bra, it's where your bra strap would go across. Now you can cross your arms and do it like this. Or if you're kind of busty, you can use the back of your knuckles and do it like this. Big deep breath. And tapping the inside of the wrist. Right here on this wrist bone, which is on the little finger side of the inside of the wrist, and straight across. This issue started back when? When do you think it started? And if you're not sure, it's okay for you just to ask, when did this really start? Big deep breath. Tap the side of the thumb. And if you didn't get any information about when it started, or even if you did, I want you to ask yourself, what's my earliest memory of feeling the same way? What's my earliest memory of feeling this same type of energy? Maybe it was happening to you. Maybe it was around you in your environment. Tap your index finger and breathe. I love and accept myself. And if that's too hard to say I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the middle finger, even though this issue may have started back when. And then say when that was. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger and breathing. And tap the little finger. I give myself permission to heal what happened Tap the side of the hand, tuning back in. Forgiving myself for getting stuck here for as long as I did. Just send yourself some compassion for not having either the time or the understanding or the support to get what you needed back then and having to carry this with you until now. Just sending yourself some love, tapping the top of the head. I'm open to forgiving myself. Tapping the side of the head and the back of the head and everyone involved. Big deep breath. Tapping the eyebrows. Who is that's involved? Are we forgiving our mothers, our fathers? Did they model this to you? Tapping the temples and breathing. Tapping the front of the cheeks. I'm open to forgiving. And then say who might be in this. Myself, life. Tapping under the nose, big deep breath. It's okay for me to clear this. Tapping under the lips, no matter how long this has been going on and how it's affected me and my life. Tapping the chest and big deep breath. How has this affected you? What did it make you think was true or believe? Take 30 seconds and just say what that was for you. It made me feel like I wasn't good enough. It made me feel insecure. It made me hate myself. Big deep breath. Tapping down to the front of the bottom of the rib cage. I accept the part of me that believed this and lived like this was the truth. And just sending so much love and compassion to this innocent part of yourself that carried this through time and thought it was true and acted like it was true and built your life around this idea and taught people how to interact with you based on this. I'm tapping the side of the ribs and breathing, sending so much love and forgiveness to everyone involved, including who? Let's say it again. Including my mom, my dad, my grandparents. Tap the inside of the wrist and breathe. I give myself permission to release any remaining anger and see if there's a part of you that's angry about this. Tap the side of the thumb. This remaining anger in my body about, and then say the situation we're talking about. And tap the middle finger. This remaining grief. Tune in and see if you feel sad about this. Tapping the middle finger. I love and respect myself. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I accept the part of me that still feels, and then say how you're feeling. Maybe you don't feel angry or sad. Maybe you feel embarrassed or ashamed or confused. Just say it out loud. I feel really, and then say how you feel about this situation. Tapping your little finger and breathing. Big deep sigh. And tapping the side of your hand. I give myself the possibility of releasing this remaining, and then say what you were just saying. Maybe it was fear. Say it 3 times. I give myself the possibility of completely releasing this remaining, and then fill in the blank. And breathe. Tapping the top of the head. It's safe for me to do this. Tap the side of the head, even if part of me is holding on to it, in an effort to protect myself from what? Tapping the eyebrows. I accept the part of me that's still trying to protect myself from, and say what it is again. Tapping the temples and breathing. Big sigh. Tapping the front of the cheeks. Asking yourself if protecting yourself by holding on to this is actually protecting you, or could it be causing the very thing you're trying to avoid? What's the truth? Is holding on to this making you safer or bringing this very thing to you? Tapping under the nose and breathe. It's okay that part of me wants to hold on to her. Tapping under the lips. And I can take this to my grave if I want to. Give yourself full permission. You actually can take this to your grave if you want to. If that's what's working well for you, have at it. Big, deep breath. Tap your chest. Okay, I'm seeing smiles. I'm seeing you make a choice. When you gave yourself permission, you accepted that you secretly wanted to take it to your grave. You were like, oh, hell no, right? You don't really want to do that, even though I could not have convinced you to let go. Tap the front of the ribs. I give myself permission to release my secret plan of taking this to my grave. Tap the side of the ribs. To protect myself from what? Tap your wrist. Which was accidentally causing what? Big, strong breath. Tap the side of the thumb. Do you feel that energy coming out of your body? I just felt that whole wave go through you, Trish. It's like, right through your middle of your whole center. Tap the side of the thumb. I'm allowing this to be easier than I thought. Tap the index finger. More fun than I imagined. Tap the middle finger and breathe. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Even if I don't know who I would be without this, because I built my whole life around it, it's totally okay to find out. Tap the little finger and breathe. Curious to see what's possible and what it's like to, and now we're going to create the antidote. To do what? To have what? To be what? To feel what? You're going to create in the affirmative. So it's not going to be a not having a, it is having what? It is being what? Say it again like you mean it. I give myself permission to, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And in it comes. Tapping the top of the head. Let's say it one more time with some enthusiasm because you're waking your brain up where it was stuck in a trance. I give myself permission to now have, feel, be what? Gross. Even if this is brand new territory, tap the temples, and it might change a lot of things. Tapping the front of the cheeks, including what? What might change if you let this be your new normal? Tapping under the nose. Big deep breath. Make some sound with that breath because you're upgrading your nervous system. It feels a little bit like, what? Tapping under the lips. Big deep breath. I give myself permission to have, be, or feel wet. Tapping the front of the chest. Even if it then creates or brings I'm doing it too, y'all. It's changing me, I'm telling you. There we go. Tap the front of the ribs. I love and respect myself. Tap the side of the ribs. And I allow myself to relax even with this new level. Big deep breath. Let's think about that new level that's coming in. Because there can be some excitement. It can also make you feel a little anxious, right? Because it's new. And it's got new stuff that you got to learn to do. Tap the inside of the wrist. I release any stress, real or imagined, about giving myself wet. Tap the side of the thumb. And then getting to have or be or do what? So exciting. I can feel it. It's happening. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's happening to me too. Tap the index finger. I'm allowing myself to relax and enjoy this process. Tap the middle finger. I'm ready. And I'm releasing any remaining fear or concern. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I have all the help I need. And I can learn to have and enjoy this. Tap the little finger. And respect myself. Tap the side of the hand. And I'm allowing this to be easy. Good. Tapping all over the body. That's right, Queen. Tell yourself 5 or 6 really loving, positive statements using your first name. So I'd be like, Sonya, I love you so much. I'm proud of you for showing up. Tapping the front of the chest. Tapping all over the body. Beautiful. All right, sweet angels. Turn your mics back on. I want to know how you're feeling. Remember, you would give your issue now.
On?
What'd you say?
I said, is my mic on?
Yeah.
Okay. That was incredible. My issue is definitely a 9 or a 10, and now I feel like it's a 4 or a 5.
Great. So we tapped for what, 20 minutes or so, and you got it half done. Halfway, 50% in 20 minutes. What do you think would happen if you put another 20 or 30 minutes into it?
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Like, I'm like makeup all over my face. It's good.
Thank you, Dawn, for being so, what a beautiful role model. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for this. It's delicious. And I love EFT. I'm all about it. I'm going to go and do the same process again anytime I need. All I got to do is pull this video up.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I have hundreds of these in the video library at the World Tapping Circle. So I do it. And I do a live stream every week. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling, Trish?
High. Relaxed. Expansive. What I worked on was love is unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got to is I allow an expansive, safe love into my life.
Mm. It's a big deal, right?
I love
Because
when you totally called me out. I was like, I felt really called out. My secret plan to carry this with me through my whole life. And I was like, oh my God, get out of my brain. That was a really funny part for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing
So we
me.
can only have what we believe is possible.
Yeah.
So that's why working with our belief system is so important, and then also clearing where that belief system came from. So, if I don't believe a cup of tea is available, I'm certainly not going to order one. But if I know that teacups exist and tea exists and hot water exists, I can imagine having a cup of tea. It's very simple, and we think that love is like much harder than anything else, but it's mostly because there's just so much around it. But as we clear it, it's the same as manifesting a parking place.
Yes. I love that you brought that up, because it really is, for a lot of us, or for many of us, our imagination is only so vast. And so if we've never experienced something, then it's often really hard to fathom what is possible.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you come from deep child abuse or some sort of emotional abuses in your life, then there's like, oh, this is what the world looks like, and it becomes smaller and smaller. So,
or broken homes. So many of us are children of divorced families. So how do you create a template for lasting love and life partnership and being able to work through things if you just saw your parents split up and get more and more toxic with each other? So we have to go in there and actually undo go into the brain and undo the trauma, and then we almost sort of black out when we're like, oh, what would it be like? But if you go there enough, it'll start building it out, and you patch it together, and then suddenly you have a template, and that template attracts and aligns with others who have that template. Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
So I just want to say that I love doing this work. I love what you're doing. Part of what I get to do besides help people heal is train healers to be able to use this technique. So if there are any people like yourselves, or you two in particular, I would love to spend some time certifying you in EFT, just to increase your skills and your tool set to keep going. And because you can use this not only to build love, but you can use it to work on anything where there's blocks. So that could be building your business, or getting better with technology, or able to manage a team. I've grown my work to a huge extent, and it wasn't because I was a genius at any of that. I just used EFT on everything that terrified me until it stopped terrifying me, and I continued to push that edge out. So it's a really great manifestation tool as well. So if there's, go ahead.
Thank you for that beautiful insight. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So if there's anyone on this chat with us who wants to learn how to be an EFT practitioner, because you're going to use that to help women or men or children or animals, or there's so many applications, and it doesn't contradict any other modality. So it goes well. It's very non-denominational, and it can be taken in any way to any group of people. And I really, really want to empower people. I want 1 out of 5 people to know how to do this. So we have links in there for you to study me, and I still have about 7 places left for the in-person training I'm doing in April. And very COVID safe. We're glamping it out in the countryside together with outdoor classrooms. It'll be beautiful. And I also have an online course that comes with it. So it's trainwithsonya.us. Those links are, we'll describe it. But I also want to invite people to the World Tapping Circle if you just want to be like, I just want to get in here and work on myself for a while before I imagine helping others. So, get in where you fit in.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous.
I've added your links to your website, and I'm just now adding the link to the Train with Sonya link. Sonya, thank you for that. And if you want more Sonya, you should show up on Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe on Saturday at 6. There's a bunch of really amazing people showing up. Can I show a little video of?
Yep.
It's called an advertisement. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say that some people whose books I read when I was a little baby goddess and growing into my power are going to be on this show with me. So it's a really big honor to be there with people like Margot Anand, who wrote all of the primers on Tantra and all of that stuff. So very exciting and beautiful.
Sonya, this has been powerful. I am so grateful to have shared a little over an hour and a half with you, or under, close, and to just be able to hear you and to do our work. Thank you for hosting such a lovely heart space with us. I do want to just read a couple comments that are coming in about just how people reacted and how they felt. Is beautiful. 10-3. I understand the fear that was living in me. Now I see that it is not actually true. Thank you, beautiful goddesses. That's from Sydney. And Antonia says, higher love, no more control and manipulative love allowed in my auric field. Thank you. There's also, this was a beautiful process of unfolding the stories of my past and seeing through the moment that imprinted me to feel like I wasn't worth hearing. Thank you, Amy, for being so vulnerable. Allie says, who's been watching the whole time, that was incredibly powerful. Major releases. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you in this show, and
I'm so grateful too.
Thank you.
Stand some love, ladies.
I really acknowledge your presence, Sonya, and the love you bring into the world. And this is a huge gift you offer people. And I really acknowledge you for just being bold and brave and bright and standing in your power and your gorgeous goddess strength to shine bright, also shine bright. And I just thank you so much. That was so pivotal. It was such a release for me. I had a total connection to a part of, like, I never grieved the loss of my grandfather, and that's what it was connected to. So I was like, oh, wow, I get to honor that. And that's amazing. So my brain never connected it. So thank you for this gem. And you're a gem, and this work is a gem. And I hope that all our viewers just take this and run with it. Like, sign up for Sonya's things and get the, like, huge shifts that occur through EFT, because it's delicious.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say in closing that I'm giving everyone a free month of EFT with me in the World Tapping Circle as my gift to you. And those links should be in there. I think I emailed you them. So get in there, worldtappingcircle.com/free month. I want y'all to be able to try it and use it. If you are broke, this is your lucky day, because you can get in and not only do a live stream with me once a week, but use the video library. You could be doing this every single day and do 10 years worth of therapy in a month and be a really different critter when you come out the other side. So use it and share it and help each other and take this and make this world a better place.
Wow, that is such a generous offer.
So generous. Yay.
Thank you so much, Sonia. I'm going to run the
welcome.
SMA advertisement now.
And I'll see you guys on Saturday.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay.
Us too.
Bye.
Bye.